Have you ever been in that situation where you're listening to someone speak English? Maybe they're going really fast or they have an accent that you're not quite used to. And you're like, okay, I get the words. I understand the words, but I don't understand what they're actually saying.
Yeah.
It's like trying to catch water in your hands.
Right? Yeah, it's that feeling of like, I can understand all the words, but I can't get the bigger picture.
Exactly. And that is precisely what we are going to be diving into today. You shared this great article with us, Secrets to Advanced English Listening Skills, a comprehensive guide for English learners. And this is for anybody who is serious about taking their English listening to the next level.
Yeah, that's right. We know that for you, the listener, it's not just about getting by in English, right? You're aiming for that higher level of fluency, whether that's to do really well on a test like the IELTS or the TOEFL, to feel super confident in professional settings, or just to be able to really immerse yourself in all the amazing English language content that's out there.
Absolutely. And so our goal for this deep dive is to take this article, unpack it, and extract those practical secrets and strategies that you can use right away to sharpen your listening skills.
That's right.
So we're going to help you get to that advanced level.
Yeah. And we're going to do that by first understanding the specific challenges that people who are trying to get to that advanced level have with listening. And then we'll explore those actionable secrets that are in this article, some really interesting, relatable examples and exercises you can do.
Okay, let's dive in. So the article starts off by saying that advanced listening isn't just about having a huge vocabulary.
Right.
What are some of the complexities that trip people up?
Well, that's a really important point to understand right away. It's not just about knowing more words. It's about some of these other things, like the article talks about how fast speech is a challenge, how native speakers tend to compress their language. So the boundaries between the words get kind of blurred. And also there's the whole thing about informal language idioms, slang contractions. You know, if someone says, I'm going to head out. Yeah, you might understand I am going to head out. But the speed at which it's said can be confusing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a whole other layer of the language to decode.
Exactly. And then, of course, you know, we have a huge variety of accents in the English-speaking world.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So the article gives a great example. It says, I can't find the car now. Depending on who's saying that, maybe somebody with a Boston accent, they're going to say, I can't find the car.
Can't the Calthic, yeah.
So, you know, being able to recognize and adapt to those different pronunciation variations is so important.
And it's not just the speaker, right? Sometimes it's the environment.
The environment, exactly. You think about background noise like you're trying to follow a conversation in a movie and it's in a busy cafe, or you have multiple people speaking at the same time. Those are real-world scenarios that require you to really up your skill level to be able to filter out the distractions and focus on what you need to hear.
And this article gives a great example of those challenges combined. It gives this little snippet from a podcast.
Yeah, the line is, we're knackered after the gig, mate. Now, someone who's still developing their English skills might hear knackered and not know what that word is at all and miss the meaning. But somebody who's, you know, got a bit more advanced skills, they might be exposed to some British slang. They'll know from the context after the gig. So we're talking about a performance that knackered probably means exhausted.
Right.
So it's just that extra level of being able to decipher the slang.
So we've talked about some of the hurdles that advanced listeners face. Let's move on to the really good stuff, the secrets to overcoming them. The first secret is all about broadening your audio intake.
Yeah, and what I think is interesting here is the emphasis on diverse sources.
Right.
So don't just stick to one type of content, you know, think about podcasts, movies, news broadcasts, audiobooks. Try and get a variety of different sources into your routine.
Because you're not going to pick up the slang that you hear on a really casual comedy podcast if you're only listening to the BBC News.
Exactly, or vice versa. You know, the BBC News is great for that kind of formal, clear English.
Right. So it's about training your ear to understand the different registers and styles. And then they give this really practical first step.
Yeah.
To kind of start to acclimate your ear, and that is with subtitles.
With subtitles, exactly. So the idea is to start off by watching or listening to some content with subtitles. And this helps you to build that initial comprehension, build your vocabulary, because you're seeing the words written down. And they give a great example from Friends, that classic Ross line, we were on a break. So you have the subtitles on, you can clearly see every word being said.
But the important part.
But then you take the subtitles off, and this forces your brain to really engage with the sounds, the rhythm, the emotional tone, without relying on that visual aid.
I love that. And they give a specific exercise to put this into practice.
They do.
Let's walk the listener through that.
Okay, so step one is to listen to a short TED Talk clip with the subtitles on. They suggest Brene Brown's The Power of Vulnerability. which is a great choice because she speaks quite clearly and thoughtfully.
Okay, so step 1, listen with the subtitles on, get a general sense of what she's saying.
Yes. And then step 2 is to identify some of the key phrases or ideas that stand out to you from that clip.
Okay.
So the article points out shame is universal and vulnerability is courage as some key takeaways.
Right, so you're not just passively listening, you're listening for the core messages.
Exactly. And then step 3 is to replay that clip without the subtitles. And here the main focus is on intonation. So how Brene Brown uses the rise and fall of her voice to emphasize certain words or convey emotion.
I see.
And the article points out how she deliberately emphasizes the word courage, which adds another layer of meaning.
Okay, so it's going from that visual support to just purely relying on your auditory senses. Okay, secret number 2 is all about mastering connected speech. What is connected speech?
It sounds very technical, but it's something you hear all the time when you listen to native English speakers' connected speech, is simply the way that words naturally blend together when people are speaking.
Right.
And it's often quite different from how those individual words would appear if you were just reading them in a textbook.
Okay.
So the article breaks down some of the key features of this. So first you have reductions where sounds within a word get shortened or even dropped entirely.
Right.
A classic example is then we have liaisons where a sound at the end of one word connects to the beginning sound of the next word. So put it on might sound more like put it on.
Put it on.
And then we have elision,
Right.
where a sound is omitted completely and next time becomes next time.
Okay.
So those subtle changes, they can really make a difference, especially when you're listening to fast speech.
The article gives a good example from the Avengers.
It does. It gives the line, I don't see how that's some party.
I don't see how that's a party.
And in fast speech, it's going to sound like, I don't see how that's a party.
So it's like a whole different sentence.
Almost, yeah.
So how do we train our ears to recognize these blended sounds?
Well, the article recommends a technique called shadowing.
Shadowing.
So shadowing involves listening to a speaker and repeating what they're saying almost at the same time.
I see.
So your voice is kind of like a shadow following theirs, and this really helps you to physically reproduce those connected speech patterns and internalize the natural flow of English.
And they give an exercise for this one too, a common phrase.
Yeah, they do. So record yourself saying the phrase, I'm not sure about that.
I'm not sure about that. Okay.
And then find a short audio clip of a native speaker saying that same phrase, and just listen carefully, compare your pronunciation to theirs, and pay attention to how they blend those words. Not sure might sound more like no, sure.
No, sure.
And just keep practicing adjusting your own pronunciation until it starts to sound more natural.
Okay, I like that. So you're getting immediate feedback on your own speech. Okay. Secret number 3, build contextual prediction skills.
So this is all about using your brain power to anticipate what you're going to hear.
Interesting.
So advanced listeners, they don't just passively receive information, they actively use the context of the conversation to try and predict what's coming next.
Okay.
So you're using your existing knowledge, the topic, the situation, maybe even the speaker, to make educated guesses about what you're likely to hear.
Right.
And the article calls this top-down listening,
Top-down listening.
where you're focusing on the bigger picture first, and they give a practical example. Imagine you're listening to a job interview,
Okay.
and the interviewer says, tell me about yourself.
Right.
Now, even before the person starts speaking, you can predict that they're going to talk about their professional background, their skills, their experience, maybe some personal details that are relevant to the job.
Okay, so it's like your brain is already setting up a framework for the kind of information that's to come.
Exactly.
I love that Harry Potter example they give here.
Oh, yeah. So good. So in the Harry Potter audiobook, when Dumbledore says in that very serious tone, the third floor corridor is out of bounds.
I can hear it.
Even if you don't catch every single word that follows, you can predict that he's going to give some kind of warning.
Right.
And as the article points out, he says to anyone who doesn't wish to die a painful death.
So understanding the context allows you to fill in the blanks.
Exactly.
Okay, and the exercise for this secret, I love this one.
Yeah.
A little bit of suspense.
It is. So the exercise is to pause a movie or a TV show right in the middle of a sentence.
Okay.
So they give an example, I was just about to.
Okay.
And then try to guess how the character is going to finish that sentence.
Oh, I love that.
Based on what's happening, you know who the character is, what's going on in the plot.
Okay.
And then you press play and see if you were right.
That's such a good exercise.
Okay.
I'm going to try that one tonight.
Way too.
Okay, secret number 4 is all about expanding your vocabulary through listening. So we know that having a strong vocabulary is essential, but how does listening contribute to that?
Well, as you get to more advanced levels of listening, you're going to come across more complex and nuanced vocabulary, especially in academic and professional settings.
Yep.
Words like mitigate or prolific.
Right.
And the point is that hearing these words in a natural context, rather than just memorizing them from a list, helps you to really understand how they're used in real life.
I see.
And the strategy they suggest here is called thematic listening.
Thematic listening.
So if you're interested in the world of business, you might listen to a podcast like The Economist, where you'll hear terms like disruptive innovation used in lots of different contexts, and that helps you to really solidify your understanding of that word.
Right, repeat exposure.
Yeah.
And they give an example of encountering a new word in a different kind of audio content.
Yeah, so imagine you're watching a documentary about climate change, and you come across the term biodiversity loss. Even if you've never heard that phrase before, the context the film is about, species disappearing, ecosystems being damaged, it gives you a pretty good clue as to what it means.
And then you can look it up.
And then you can double check, yeah.
So you're using context clues.
Exactly.
And the exercise for this secret involves a news segment.
It does. So listen to a short segment from NTR or another news outlet and just jot down 3 words that you don't know.
Okay.
And then try and guess their meaning based on the context of the report.
Okay.
And then at the end, look them up and see if you were right.
Okay, that's a good one. I like that one. So secret number 5 shifts our focus to how we engage with the audio we're hearing, the concept of active listening.
Yeah, so it's really important to distinguish between passive hearing and active listening.
Okay.
Passive hearing is just the act of sound waves hitting your eardrums.
Right.
Active listening is much more engaged. So you're focusing on the audio, you're processing the information, summarizing key points in your mind, asking yourself clarifying questions, and maybe even reacting emotionally or intellectually to what you're hearing.
Okay.
So the example they give is in a debate.
Okay.
Instead of just hearing the statement, taxes should rise,
Okay.
an active listener would be thinking, why does this person believe that? Who would benefit from this? What are the potential negative consequences?
So take it to that next level.
Exactly.
Okay. And they give a really good example from The Crown.
Yeah, so when Queen Elizabeth says that famous line duty comes before love, it's not just about hearing those words, it's about summarizing them in your own mind. So maybe you think, okay, she's saying she has to prioritize her responsibility as queen over her personal feelings.
Okay.
So you're really understanding what's being communicated.
I see.
And the exercise for this secret involves a longer piece of audio, a podcast episode.
Okay.
So they suggest listening to an episode of Freakonomics, specifically the episode called Why Do We Tip? And then trying to write a concise summary of the main points.
Okay.
Aim for around 50 words, and they give an example. Tipping started as a bribe for better service, evolved into a norm despite economic inefficiency.
That's really helpful.
So you get the idea of the level of detail you need to include.
Yeah, so you're testing your comprehension of a longer piece of audio.
Exactly.
Okay. Secret number 6, leverage technology and tools.
So it's good to know we have some help in this.
Right. We have some modern aids.
We do. Technology offers so much that can help you with your English listening practice. The article specifically mentions some apps like Audible for audiobooks, LingQ for interactive learning with transcripts, and then that super useful playback speed control that you find on YouTube.
Oh my gosh, the playback speed control is a game changer.
Absolutely. It really is.
Yeah.
So if you find that somebody is speaking too fast for you, you can just slow it down a little bit, maybe 0.75 speed.
Right.
And that makes it much easier to hear the individual words and those connected speech patterns that we were talking about. They give a great example of a battle scene from Game of Thrones where you might want to slow down the audio to really catch lines like, "The North remembers amidst all the chaos."
Yeah, that makes sense. So LingQ, how can that be specifically helpful?
So LingQ is really cool because it allows you to work directly with transcripts.
Okay.
So as you're listening and reading along, you can highlight any words that you don't know, get the definition, and save them for review later.
No.
So they give the example of encountering the word treachery in an audiobook, and you can just highlight it, link it to synonyms like betrayal.
So it's like a personalized vocabulary builder.
Exactly.
That's really cool. And the exercise for this secret is all about that playback speed control.
Yeah, so find a short audio clip from BBC News or another outlet and try adjusting the playback speed to something a bit faster than normal, like 1.25x.
Okay.
And this will just challenge your ear to keep up with that faster pace of speech.
That makes a lot of sense. So secret number 7, well, not really a secret. It's about overcoming plateaus in learning and maintaining motivation over time, because language learning really is a marathon.
It is. And the article wisely acknowledges that progress in language learning, especially listening, isn't always a straight line upwards.
Right.
You will probably hit periods where you feel like your listening has plateaued.
Yeah, happens all the time.
So what can you do?
What can we do?
Well, they suggest a few things. One is to switch up the type of content that you're consuming.
Okay.
So if you've been mainly focusing on very formal podcasts or lectures, try listening to something totally different.
Okay.
Like rap music.
Okay.
They even mentioned the song Humble by Kendrick Lamar,
Interesting.
just to get a feel for that rhythm and intonation.
So it's engaging different facets of your listening.
Exactly.
What else?
Well, seek out opportunities to engage in real-time conversation.
Okay.
So join a conversation club, find a language exchange partner, get involved in some online communities, and perhaps most importantly is to really celebrate those small victories.
Yes.
So if you finally understand a joke in the office,
Yes.
that is a sign of progress.
Absolutely.
Recognize it.
Right.
Every word you understand is a step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
That's the point.
Well, this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into the secrets for developing advanced English listening skills. And it's all thanks to this really comprehensive guide that you shared with us. And the takeaway really is that mastering advanced listening is a multifaceted skill that requires consistent effort, exposure to a variety of sources, and applying these strategic techniques.
Yeah, it's not passive at all.
Right.
You have to really engage with the language, challenge yourself, and focus on the context and the nuance of spoken English.
And for you, the listener, the next step is clear. Start putting these secrets into practice today. Pick a new podcast to listen to. Try shadowing a line from your favorite movie experiment with those playback speed controls on YouTube. Any little bit of practice will lead to progress over time.
Absolutely. And to leave you with a final thought, as your ability to really grasp the nuances of spoken English improves, how might that unlock not just factual information, but also a richer, deeper connection with English-speaking cultures around the world?
That's a great question.
What might become more accessible to you as your listening gets better? It's something to think about as you continue on your language learning adventure.
I love that question.
Yeah.
That is something to ponder.
Definitely.
It was fantastic talking with you.
You too. Thanks for having me.
See you next time.
Bye.
Have you ever been in that situation where you're listening to someone speak English? Maybe they're speaking quite quickly or with an accent you're not totally familiar with, and you find yourself thinking, okay, I understand the individual words,
Right.
but the overall meaning, it just isn't quite landing. It's almost like trying to catch water in your hands, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's precisely that feeling, understanding the pieces but missing the full picture. And that's exactly the challenge we're diving into today.
Ah, good.
You shared this really excellent guide with us, Secrets to Advanced English Listening Skills. And it offers, well, a pretty comprehensive roadmap for learners aiming for higher fluency.
And this deep dive is specifically for you, the listener, who isn't just content with, getting by in English.
Right.
You're aiming for that next level. Maybe it's for tests like IELTS or TOEFL, or feeling truly confident in professional settings, or maybe just fully immersing yourself in English content.
That's spot on. So our mission today is really to unpack this guide. We want to pull out the most practical secrets and strategies, things you can start using, well, pretty much immediately to sharpen those listening skills and really elevate your comprehension.
Okay, so where do we start?
Well, first we're going to look at the specific hurdles that advanced learners actually face with listening. Then we'll dig into those actionable insights from the material.
Sounds good. Using some interesting examples and exercises too, right? Things people can try.
Exactly. Practical stuff. Let's get started.
All right.
So the guide kicks off by making a really crucial point. Advanced listening isn't just about having a massive vocabulary.
Okay. Important, but not the whole story.
Right. Vocabulary is foundational, obviously, but a lot of people find themselves tripped up by other, maybe more subtle complexities in spoken English.
Yeah, like the speed. Right. Fast speech. Native speakers often compress language, blurring those boundaries between words.
Definitely.
Like, I'm going to head out just becomes, I'm going to head out. It sounds so different sometimes.
It does. It adds this whole extra layer you have to decode. And then there's all the informal language, idioms, slang, contractions.
Yeah, those can be tough if you haven't heard them a lot.
Incredibly difficult. And accents, the sheer variety across the English-speaking world.
Right. The guide had a great example for that. Something about Boston.
Yeah, I can't find the tar. Which, if someone from Boston says it, they're actually looking for their car.
Right. Learning to adapt to those different pronunciations is key.
Absolutely essential. And it's not just the speaker either. Sometimes it's the environment.
You mean like background noise?
Exactly. Think about trying to follow dialogue in a movie that's said in a busy cafe, or maybe a conversation where multiple people are talking over each other. Those real-world situations demand some advanced filtering skills.
Makes sense. The guide actually pulls these challenges together with a specific example, didn't it? Something from a podcast.
It did, yeah. We're knackered after the gig, mate.
Knackered. Okay, what's that mean exactly?
It means exhausted. It's British slang, and after the gig just means after a performance or event.
Ah,
So what's interesting is someone with advanced listening skills might not know knackered right away.
okay.
But through, consistent exposure to different kinds of British English and using the context clues around it, they can often figure it out. They recognize the slang within its natural conversational home.
So, okay, we've identified some of these hurdles. Fast speech, slang, accents, noise. Now let's pivot to the solutions. The first big secret from the guide seems to be broadening your audio intake.
Yes, significantly broadening it.
But is it just about listening to more stuff, or is there a specific way we should be diversifying?
That's a great question. It's really about the variety of sources. You shouldn't limit yourself to just one type of content.
So mix it up.
Exactly. The guide suggests podcasts, movies, news broadcasts, audiobooks. The idea is, well, you probably won't pick up much casual slang listening only to BBC News, right? And you won't necessarily hear very formal English in a comedy podcast. You need that mix to train your ear to different registers, different styles.
Okay, that makes total sense. And they suggest a really practical first step for this, the subtitle strategy.
Yes. Start with subtitles. The idea is simple. Watch or listen to something initially with the subtitles on.
Okay, why?
It helps build that initial comprehension and vocabulary because you can actually see the written words. Think of the classic Friends example, Ross's famous line.
Oh, we were on a break.
Exactly. So you watch that, subtitles on, you see every word clearly. But then, and this is the crucial part, you take the subtitles off.
Right. Lose the safety net.
You got it. It forces your brain to actively decode the sounds, the rhythm, the intonation, the emotion. You're training it to pick up those subtle cues that carry so much meaning, kind of like how a native speaker processes it instinctively.
Building that auditory muscle memory.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And for this, the guide suggests a specific exercise focusing on intonation, using a TED Talk clip.
Okay, like Brene Brown's Power of Vulnerability, maybe.
Yeah, that's a great example. So, step 1, listen with the subtitles, get the general gist.
Got it.
Step 2, identify key phrases. Maybe things like shame is universal or vulnerability is courage. You're actively looking for the core messages.
Not just passively listening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then step 3, replay it without the subtitles, but this time focus really hard on the intonation. How does the speaker, like Brown emphasizing courage, use their voice, the rise and fall, to convey emotion and meaning?
Ah, so you're tuning into that extra layer, moving from visual help to pure sound. Okay, next secret, mastering connected speech. Sounds a bit technical.
It sounds technical, but it's really just how words naturally blend together when people talk. You hear it all the time without even realizing it.
Okay.
It's simply how individual words kind of morph and link up when spoken fluently. Often sounds quite different from how they look written down alone.
And the guide breaks down some key features.
It does. First, reductions. Sounds get shortened or even dropped. The classic one is going to becoming gonna.
Right, gonna.
Then there's liaison. The sound at the end of one word connects to the start of the next, like put it on can sound more like put it on.
Put it on. Yeah, I hear that. And elision.
Elision is when a sound gets completely omitted, like next time often becomes next time.
Next time.
Wow.
Wow. These small shifts can really make fast speech hard to follow.
They absolutely can. The guide uses a great example from The Avengers.
Oh, yeah.
The line, I don't see how that's a party. In fast speech, it can almost sound like, I don't see how that's party.
Whoa, okay. That really blends together. So how do we train our ears for this? The guide mentions shadowing.
Shadowing, yes. It's where you listen to someone speaking and you repeat what they say almost at the same time, like your voice is their shadow.
Like mimicking them in real time.
Pretty much. It's incredibly effective because you're physically trying to reproduce those connected speech patterns. It helps internalize the natural rhythm and flow.
Okay, cool. Is there an exercise for that?
Yeah, a simple one. Record yourself saying a common phrase like, I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
Then find a short audio clip of a native speaker saying that exact phrase. Compare yours to theirs. Pay close attention to how they blend the words. Like, not sure often sounds more like no sure.
No, sure.
Right. Then you practice adjusting your pronunciation. It helps your own speech sound more natural, but crucially, it tunes your ear to hear those patterns in others.
That's great immediate feedback. Okay, let's shift gears. How can our brains actually predict what's coming next? This idea of contextual prediction skills sounds powerful.
It really is fascinating. Advanced listeners aren't just passively receiving sound. They're actively using the context, the situation, the topic, who's speaking to anticipate what's likely to be said next. It's called top-down listening.
So using what you already know to make educated guesses, like in a job interview, if the interviewer says, "Tell me about yourself."
Exactly. Even before the candidate speaks, your brain is already prepping for talk about their background, their skills, experience. It's like your mind builds a framework for the information.
The Harry Potter example was good too. Dumbledore saying in that serious voice, "The third floor corridor is out of bounds."
Right. His tone and the context immediately signal a warning, even if you miss a word or two.
And you know something serious is coming, even before he finishes with, "To anyone who doesn't wish to die a painful death." Context fills in the gaps.
Precisely. And the exercise for this is actually quite fun.
Oh, yeah.
You pause a movie or TV show right in the middle of a sentence, like someone says, "I was just about to."
And then you guess the ending.
Yeah. Based on the scene, the character, what's happening, you predict how they'll finish the sentence.
And then press play to see if you were right.
Yeah.
I love that. I am definitely trying that tonight.
Haha. Nice. Okay, next key insight. Expanding vocabulary through listening. We know vocabulary is important, but how does listening specifically help build it, especially advanced words?
Well, as you listen more, especially to more complex stuff, you'll naturally encounter words like mitigate or prolific. The idea, I guess, is hearing them in use makes them stick better than just seeing them on a list.
That's the core idea, exactly. Hearing words in their natural habitat, so to speak, helps you grasp their meaning and usage much more deeply.
Okay.
And the strategy suggested is thematic listening. So if you're into, say, business, listen to things like the Economist podcasts. You'll hear terms like disruptive innovation over and over in different contexts, which really solidifies your understanding.
Right. Repeated exposure in relevant situations. The guide had an example, too, about climate change.
It did. Imagine watching a documentary and hearing biodiversity loss. Even if it's new, the context talking about species disappearing, damaged ecosystems gives you strong clues about what it means.
You use the context first, then maybe look it up later.
Exactly, and the exercise reflects that. Listen to a short news segment, maybe from NPR. Jot down, say, 3 words you don't recognize. Then try to guess their meaning purely from the context of the report.
And then look them up to check. Active vocabulary building. Cool. Okay, next up is active listening. How's that different from just listening?
A crucial distinction. It's about separating passive hearing, just sound waves hitting your eardrums, from engaged active listening.
So what does active listening involve?
It involves really processing the information, mentally summarizing points as you go, maybe asking yourself clarifying questions, reacting intellectually or emotionally.
Like the debate example, instead of just hearing taxes should rise, you're thinking,
why does this person think that? Who benefits? What are the potential downsides? You're engaging with the ideas on a deeper level.
Got it. And the example from The Crown.
Yeah. Queen Elizabeth's line, duty comes before love. An active listener doesn't just hear the words, they process it, maybe summarizing it mentally as, okay, she's saying responsibility outweighs personal feelings. You internalize the message.
I see. And the exercise involves something longer, like a podcast episode.
Right. Listen to an episode, maybe Freakonomics, Why Do We Tip? Then try to write a short summary, like 50 words, capturing the main points.
So testing your overall comprehension of a bigger chunk of information.
Exactly. Checking if you synthesize the key takeaways. Now, for our next secret, leveraging technology. Good news is we have tools to help.
We definitely do. Tech offers so many great aids. The guide mentions Audible for audiobooks, LingQ for interactive learning, and that super useful playback speed control on YouTube and other players.
Oh yeah, the playback speed control is a total game changer.
It really is.
If someone's talking too fast, just slow it down, maybe to 0.75x. Suddenly, individual words and those connected speech patterns become much clearer.
Like catching the North remembers in a noisy Game of Thrones scene by slowing it down.
Exactly. And LingQ, how does that specifically help?
LingQ is cool because it lets you interact directly with with transcripts while you listen. You can highlight words you don't know, get instant definitions, and save them to review later. So if you hit the word treachery in an audiobook, you can tap it, see it means betrayal, and save it. You build this personalized vocabulary list from stuff you're actually listening to.
That sounds incredibly useful, and the exercise for this uses that speed control again. It does. Find a short audio clip, BBC News or something, then challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Speed it up slightly, maybe 1.25x.
Whoa, okay. Why?
To train your ear to keep up with faster speech, it pushes your processing speed.
Clever. Okay, our final secret, it's a really important one, overcoming those inevitable plateaus and staying motivated. Because language learning is definitely a marathon, not a sprint.
It absolutely is. And the guide is wise to acknowledge that progress isn't always linear. You will hit periods where it feels like your listening just isn't improving. You've plateaued.
That's normal.
Completely normal. It happens to everyone.
So what do we do then when we feel stuck? The guide suggests switching things up.
Yeah, one strategy is to change the type of content. If you've been grinding away at formal lectures, maybe try something totally different. Like, the guide actually suggests rap music. Kendrick Lamar's Humble, for instance.
Uh-huh. Okay. A big shift. Why?
It engages different parts of your listening brain rhythm, slang, different intonation patterns, just shakes things up. What else?
Another key thing is seeking out real-time conversation. Join a club. Find a language partner online. Anything interactive.
Makes sense. Get that live practice.
And maybe the most important thing, celebrate the small wins.
Ah, yes. Crucial.
Recognize and actually appreciate the progress you're making, like finally understanding that joke your colleague made, or catching a tricky phrase in a movie without subtitles. Every little bit counts.
Absolutely. Every word, every phrase you understand that you wouldn't have before, that's a real step forward.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful, really digging into these strategies for advanced listening, all thanks to that guide you shared. The big takeaway for me is that it's not passive at all.
Not in the slightest. It's multifaceted. It needs consistent effort, that diverse exposure we talked about, and actually using these techniques.
You have to actively engage, challenge yourself, focus on context, on the nuances.
Exactly.
And for you, the listener, the next step seems pretty clear. Start putting these ideas into practice. Pick one. Try a new podcast, maybe shadow a line from a movie tonight, or just play around with those speed controls on YouTube.
Any practice, really, no matter how small it feels, it adds up over time. It leads to progress.
Definitely.
And maybe to leave you with a final thought to chew on. As your ability to grasp these nuances of spoken English gets better and better, how might that unlock more than just information? Could it lead to a richer, maybe deeper connection with English-speaking cultures around the world?
Ooh, that's a great question. What new experiences, what new understanding might become accessible to you as your listening improves? Definitely something to think about on your language learning journey.